before we get set to go for qualifying. And Eric, well, a lot happened for us to get to this point. A lot of shakeups in both series in the championship standings, especially in the pro late models. We had a change up front for who the championship points leader is, but a lot happened on the late model stock car side as well to put us in the position we are now.
I think many teams may be grateful that they did have an extra week to get their cars prepared from this. In fact, it was Trayton Lapsevich who took responsibility for a missed shift on a restart. Look at the car in the center of your picture. That's your points leader in Connor Hall with the front end of his car destroyed, but it wasn't enough to put them out of the race. They made several modifications to that car to not only keep him in to get past the other contenders that were taken out in that crash, but other drivers who fell out of the race throughout the night. Brendan Butterbean Queen was the dominator in the 03 all night long, but got passed late by Trayton Lapsevich.
This was the case all night long. Butterbean putting up an early fight, got the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award for the 4th time. Lapsevich was able to pull away and would cross the finish line in first. Unfortunately, that's not how things would stand, as a couple of days later, the G-Max Cars Tour officials announced a disqualification for the number 77, of which there is an appeal process. I will say that, and a hearing will be had early next week as the Chad Bryant Racing team trying to fight back from that. But for now, as it would stand, it would be Corey Heim, who you saw cross the line in second, that officially would be scored as the race winner for now.
Yeah, and as irony would have it, that driver and that team had to replace a rear end in that car earlier today after Trayton reported a vibration throughout the practice sessions. He's ready to attack the racetrack here in qualifying, and according to what he told motorsports reporter Matt Weaver, they are approaching this race as if they are still very much in championship contention with the appeal on the horizon. As things stand, Trayton Lapsevich with the DQ from Wilkesboro puts him down in 7th position. And Blake, another subplot we have here on the night, the driver 4th in standings, who already missed a Cars Tour event for an Xfinity Series obligation by virtue of the rescheduling. Carson Quapple, 3-time winner here the last 3 times out, also not in attendance, but a familiar last name is adorning that race car.
Well, was in attendance yesterday, made
That's
a couple
true.
of practice runs in that number 8 car. It will be brother Caden that will take the reins of the number 8 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet here, but yes, it will hurt Carson's opportunity to try and challenge for a 3rd consecutive championship. But you look a little bit down the running order. Minnie Tyrell, especially Ryan Millington, again, 39 markers back. That's just a couple points above what would be a perfect race, leading the most laps, winning the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award, and winning the race. But here, Ace Speedway, if there's a chance to make up and gobble up all of those points, I think that number 15 car, certainly somebody that could get back in the hunt. And who knows, maybe regardless of what happens or seeing how things may play out with that appeals process, if Lapsevich could get back as a race winner, that would certainly shake things up and probably put about 5 or 6 through to this championship with what would be 5 races remaining after tonight.
It should be noted that Connor Hall also did receive a penalty post-North Wilkesboro. Evidently, they put a tire on that car that was not part of the tire allotment of that night. Cost him 1 lap at the end of the running order. Didn't negatively impact him all that much in the results. But nevertheless, Hall comes into this race with a 12-point advantage. Let's go down trackside to Pike.
Got our late model stock car points leader, Connor Hall. And Connor, not exactly the night at Wilkesboro that I think you would have drawn up initially, but you and the Nelson Motorsports team fought. You took saw, took hammer, and basically chopped off as much of the car as you needed to get it back out there to go out and get points. How important was that for you? And what was the mentality once you all got caught up in that wreck to try and fight back and make sure that you got the most out of the evening?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were done. It was a pretty good lick, and then I got out and pulled the hood pins out and looked under the hood, and I was just looking for water, and I didn't see water, so I at least knew we had a radiator, and hop back in it and drove it around, and we were able to, get the thing operatable. And, between our guys and all the Chad Bryant guys, they stepped in and helped a ton. And I mean, at this level, I think every point matters. So I think we were able to gain, extra 6, 7, 8 points just by kind of surviving the rest of the night. And that's, that's huge. That could be the difference in winning a championship or not. So we actually worked our way back to 10th, I think, and then my luck, we broke a track bar mount. So that was just what finished us off, and we were able to go a couple laps down changing that and, just finished off.
The fight for every point will matter. Now, before we got to Connor, there were a few other drivers that were chatting with our points leader. Cade Brown also going to be running tonight from at Piercy Racing here at Ace. Cade, initial impressions of your car through practice and running up here to qualifying?
Man, I think we're pretty good. Sitting here talking to Connor Hall, trying to figure out the speed secret. Need everything we can get. So made some good changes today and yesterday, and we're going to see how we turn out today.
And one more driver that's made it over here, Luke Baldwin. Luke, you and the Walker Motorsports folks have just clicked. It's been very natural, at least from the outside, from working with the team day to day. How has that process been over the course of the year for you?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I'm kind of in and out of the seat. Me and my dad built our own car, so we did one with that. And unfortunately, Jonathan Schaefer came down with something this week, wasn't able to make it out here. So I got the call while I was in Long Island yesterday to fly down and come drive this thing. So we were really fast out of the box. We didn't get the full test day yesterday, but to be honest with you, that these guys at Walker Motorsports are no joke. Scott Anderson, Chris Walker, everyone that helps out, they build a really, really good race car. And it's just been bad fast out of the trailer, so I think we're in pretty good shape for tonight.
If anybody needs evidence about the Baldwin family just being racers, getting the call and coming down from New York down here to North Carolina to go run within short notice, sounds like a Baldwin family sort of story. We'll see if Luke can have a good run tonight in the Pro Late Models.
Well, and I'll double up on that, James. It's not just the fact that, well, he got the call late and ended up coming down here. He's got to go to Riverhead tomorrow to be up there. So, again, a full weekend of racing for the Baldwin family as he will fill in. Again, we wish our best to Jonathan Schaefer. Again, lives up in Ohio, so making the trip with as ill as he was going to be tough sledding for him. So, of course, we wish him well. And he's put together some really good runs for this Walker Motorsports group as they are contending to try and stay in the hunt for the Owners Point Championship on the Pro Late Model side of things. But drivers still waiting to get the nod to send us out for single car qualifying. Couple of haulers for some of the local divisions tonight. Right now, making their way through on the backstretch gate. And we will step aside for a moment Back with you here at the famous 410th Mile at Ace Speedway. Second visit in 2024 for the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear, with just 6 races remaining in the battle for the championship in the late model stocks and 5 for the pro late models when all is said and done. And again, those pro late models will not be in competition when we go out next weekend, Saturday night, Wake County Speedway. It'll just be the late model stocks as far as the Cars Tour is concerned that will be competing at that bull ring. And it may not be a bull ring tonight, Eric, but Ace Speedway draws comparisons with that racetrack, a track that really narrows up on corner exit that can be difficult at times to try and find ways to make speed, especially in 3 and 4. You have a lot of freedom. In 1 and 2, it's pretty straightforward on the bottom. Honestly, heard a lot of drivers, even throughout this week, kind of talk about 3 and 4. Almost reminds me of how Hickory would drive in turns 3 and 4 at that racetrack. So we'll see those comparisons, and we'll see a number of drivers, one of which being the one that you see on screen, who this track has been very kind to. See how they manage to get around this famous 410th Mile. And speaking of, let's go ahead and send the first car out, who is going to take a mighty low line that we were just talking about through turns 3 and 4 and onto the apron here through that end of the speedway. Coming off at turn number 2 in the number 81, Convenience Tire and Auto, BDL Motorsports, and Solid Rock Carriers number 81 out of Manassas, Virginia. One of the great stories here in 2024 in the ZMAX Cars Tour is that of Minnie Tyrell. In fact, had a very strong showing here back in the spring, was running in the top 5. But again, sometimes at Ace, you catch a little bit of the wall off at turn 4, and that can hurt your night a little bit as he went on to finish 9th, but felt confident. Again, Minnie said yesterday this is one of the strongest cars he feels as though this team has brought to Ace. I got to say, a 15.506, not a bad first marker off of what we've seen. Taped up solid, and Minnie Tyrell not able to go faster on lap 2, but may not be a pole lap when we look at the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole, Eric, but a very solid effort nonetheless from that number 81.
Great effort there by Minnie Tyrell, who's trying to keep himself in championship contention. 36 markers down out of the championship point lead for that of Minnie, who's had a great season. Warm welcome back to this driver. We haven't seen him in the last 2 races. Was 5th here in the spring after starting 3rd. This is the Aaron Sales and Lease and Elliott Properties, number 16 for the McCumbee Elliott Racing Stable out of Supply, North Carolina. Chad McCumbee coming through to complete his first timed lap. McCumbee, someone who has a Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole award under his belt. He's looking for another one. He will better Tyrell with a 15.491 that first time around. McCumbee's best result at this racetrack was runner-up in 2022. Also looking to better that by 1 spot tonight in his return with the ZMAX Cars Tour. 15.486 will be the lap of record for Chad McCumbee.
Going to be a couple of local favorites that adorn the number 15, and perhaps nobody in the pit area is more nervous looking at Race Monitor down on their phones than seeing this driver out on the racetrack, who has 3 Thunder Road Harley-Davidson poles to his name at Ace Speedway. He led 100 laps here back in the spring, and he has been fast all weekend long in the number 15 Leisure Time Reynolds Chevrolet out of Statesville, North Carolina. Ryan Millington, very early on, Eric, could be a favorite to steal this one and set the bar very high, very early. Millington, first lap through, is going to clock in at a 15.384. Again, just off what would be the best lap that we've seen of a 15.317 that Bobby McCarty put down here 3 years ago. Second time through, is it going to be faster for Ryan Millington? He's just going to miss the mark. But, Eric, we may very well could have seen a 4th career Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole award for Ryan Millington on that lap.
And I think if anyone's going to better that time, they may land that Cars Tour late model stock car track record that you mentioned, that 15.317. Here's a Cars Tour late model stock debut from a driver who's not making his motorsports debut by any stretch of the imagination. Very successful, an accomplished racer, very familiar name here at the Ace Speedway. He sits on many of the win lists and even has a couple of championship trophies to go along with it. Driving the MK Racing, AAR Roofing and Pest Services number 12W, Dean Ward coming through to complete lap number 1. Dean's first lap is going to clock in at a 15.733 for that of Dean Ward his first time around. His son Dylan will be on the clock a little while from now. father-son duo is going to try to tackle the same racetrack in a late model stock car here at Ace Speedway. Ward's second time through will come across, and it will be a tick off of what he ran the first time around. Ward fourth.
Didn't have to change too much to the name rail looking at this number 8 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. It is usually brother Carson that not only has piloted this machine, but has won each of the last 4 races that we have competed here at Ace Speedway, and brother Caden will look to do the same. In fact, the last 5 times across both divisions that somebody has crossed the checkered flag first, their last name has been Quapple. This week, behind the wheel, the number 8 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports out of Mooresville, North Carolina. It is younger brother Caden, who split time with Carson yesterday. First lap through for Caden Quapple is going to be a 15.539. And again, Carson, before his obligations in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, was here on the property. The brothers split time, and Caden was very complimentary of the help that his brother gave him yesterday in trying to drive these late model stocks around this racetrack, as Quapple slows down just a hair, but goes 4th fastest of the 5 we've sent thus far.
On the Speedway now, driving the JBL Mobile 1, Leapoly Performance, and Mincy's Graphic, number 55 out of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Here's Isabella Robusto coming to the green. This will be her 14th career start and 7th of 2024. Her only prior appearance here at Ace was back in May. Started 14th and picked up the top 10. Again, the time to beat, a 15.384 for the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole, laid down by surprise Ryan Millington, as Robusto's first lap is going to clock in 5th. That's a 15.585, 2/10 off the lap laid down by that of Ryan Millington. Isabella's going to wrap up her racing duties tonight, travel with Venerini Motorsports tomorrow morning, out to the Illinois State Fairgrounds for an ARCA Menard Series start on the dirt. Robusto to 3rd with that second lap through, 15.496.
We'll see the 33 out on the racetrack right now. The Gastown Chevrolet out of Kernersville, North Carolina, has won 4 consecutive races in weekly competition here at Ace Speedway this year, defending limited late model track champion, and had a long conversation with him earlier today. Again, so much talk this season, Eric, has been about this new ST2 tire and how much different it is in terms of how it feels and where you set the car up. No better example than to ask Dylan in the conversation we had earlier about how fundamentally different it is setting this race car up for the race tonight on this different tire than what the weekly divisions compete on in the F45s. Harville's first time through was just off of the lap by Carson Quapple. Harville at a 15.565 for lap number 1. Lap number 2 is going to be a bit faster and up into the 5th position for now. But for somebody who may very well have a Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole award under his belt, let's send it down to James Pike.
Millington down here with me. And Ryan, between the way you ran here in the spring and the end of the throwback and Wilkesboro, where's your mindset heading into this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm for sure real confident. I know we got a really, really fast car. We're probably sitting on the pole right now, but I kind of screwed my second lap up a little bit and left some on the table. So I hope it can stick and we can start up front, because I know if we can start up front and get a little bit of track position, I think we're going to have a tough time beating us tonight. I've raced here a lot, man. This is the best car I've ever had here, so hopefully tonight's the night.
And I'll just repeat that, the best car he's ever had, and this is a driver who has more poles here than just about anyone and has won in car store competition well. So if Ryan Millington is that confident, if you're the rest of the field, I think you have to be a little bit worried.
Thanks, Pike. Landon Lewis was on the racetrack, just clocked in 3rd fastest. Obviously not the words that the rest of the pit area wanted to hear in terms of Brian Millington.
No, not at all.
And he continues to hold down the provisional poles. We are about to be halfway through Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award qualifying. This driver's making his 10th career start here at Ace. He's run every single one that we've had here with the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. His best start was 4th here a year ago. His best finish 8th in 2021. This is the Crossroads Harley-Davidson Grand Atlantic Resorts, and Josh Wines number 2 for that of Brandon Pierce in the Carroll Speed Shop entry out of Oak Ridge, North Carolina. Pierce's first lap puts him 8th of the 9 cars that have been on the racetrack so far. We just saw Isabella Robusto with a pretty big pickup on lap 2. Pierce hoping for the same. Second time through for Pierce is going to be faster, but not enough to move him up the scoring charts. Brandon Pierce will remain 8th as things stand.
Another local driver that is making his turn in the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear, a longtime weekly competitor at Ace Speedway this year, and in fact does so at Caraway Speedway as well, has won a couple of features at Caraway Speedway here in 2024. Behind the wheel, the number 59 machine. Pico Propane sponsored entry out of Snow Camp, North Carolina. This is the 59 of Heath Causey, whose father will be, or at least the modified, is sitting down there as Causey gets a little bit up the racetrack out of turn 4. That will slow him down to a 15.611 for a family that has called Ace Speedway home for a very long time. Finished 14th in this race in 2022, and his only car start here at this racetrack. Causey will sit 8th at a 15.604. For more, let's toss it down to James Pike.
Well, Blake, you talked about the name rail on the 8 car not being all that different, and here we are. It's a different Quapple, but it's still a Quapple behind the wheel of the 8 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports. Caden Quapple, I think a lot of people have been wondering when this kind of moment would come, when you get the chance to get behind the wheel of this car. So now that you've had a little bit of the opportunity here, what's the experience been like working with the Junior Motorsports team?
Yeah, it's definitely been different. Working with the guys makes it a little easier, though. They always bring me a good car. Getting from this to a pro it's really hard. They're kind of, in my opinion, a lot different. You got to use a lot more brake and a lot more wheel in these and slow it down a ton more. And the pro, you kind of drive it as hard as you can the whole time and roll speed as much as you can through the center. So it's pretty hard going back and forth, but we have a pretty good race run car, I think. We missed it right there a little bit in qualifying. The car was a little too tight, and I kind of maybe overdrove and missed the corner a little bit. But I think we'll be good for 125 laps later tonight after a 100-lap pro race.
And this car is a good pedigree at Hayes. It's only gone to Cookout Victory Lane the last 3 times we've been here. So big shoes to fill, but plenty of talent behind the wheel of the 8 tonight, too.
Thanks, Pike. How about Drake Lapsevich with everything that's gone on with that Chad Bryant team over the last 2 weeks and what lies ahead with the upcoming appeal? Lapsevich outside pole with his qualifying run. He had to rocket his way up through the field here last May, and now we've got the championship points leader coming to complete his first time lap. Connor Hall, 8th. Not what he was looking for as the 12 cars that have been on the racetrack so far. In the autos by Nelson, number 22 for Nelson Motorsports. Fresh off the top 10 effort in his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut at Richmond last week. Checkered flag for Hall. He will pick up to 8th. In fact, he'll remain 8th. The second lap will be quicker, but not the lap that Connor Hall was hoping for.
Another newcomer here to this ride in 2024 in the ZMAX Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. And what a week it has been for RNS Race Cars, with Keith Helton's visit to Drew Helton's Victory Lane at Kingsport Speedway last week. RNS Race Cars collected their 100th win as a chassis manufacturer since being founded in 2019. Keith gets a nice little new fire suit from Black Acid Racing Apparel, but they have put one hot shoe behind the wheel here in Altamaha. Behind the wheel of the main line in Hajoka Richmond Ford out of Danville, Virginia, it is Blake Stallings. We mentioned a couple of drivers who have won here in late model stocks this year. That would include Blake Stallings, who also took home a track championship here in the late model stocks and has won the Rodney Cook Classic in 2017. Stallings, one of the few we've seen that picked it up on lap number 2, 15.490, barely puts him in the 4th spot just behind Chad McCumbee.
We heard from this driver earlier with James Pike down trackside. It's pretty much been feast or famine for this very impressive young driver so far in 2024. To go along with his 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s, he's unfortunately had 6 DNFs, including last time out, being caught up in the big one at North Wilkesboro. This is the Velasta Per Year Tank Lines and Race City Seal, Matt Piercy Racing, number 23, for Cade Brown. Brown's first lap is going to be 10th quickest on his first time around for the rookie campaigner out of Full Shear, Texas. While Brown comes around to the checkered flag, let's go to Pike, who's with Trayton Lapsevich.
Trayton, big week here, big last 2 weeks. What's the attitude and the energy been like, and how's life been like in the shop in preparation for everything here at Ace tonight?
Yeah, you know, it's really just, it's business as usual, honestly. It is what it is. We're going through the appeal process right now, but overall, we've just been hard at work in the shop. The Chad Bryant Racing team's been prepared a really good Everett Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship number 77 here tonight. Car feels great, and yeah, it's just business as usual. We kind of got to, play this like any other race. In the event that it would get overturned, we'd be right there up in there in the points. So just got to treat that like we're still up there.
Good start to the afternoon as well. Fast qualifying time for Trayton Lapsevich. Would look to find his way up towards the front of the field later tonight.
It's not going to have to go far to do it for now, as we see the number 11 GXS Wraps and per your take lines Van Dyke Racing Performance entry of Buddy Isles Jr. out of Littleton, North Carolina, who will set that car in the 14th spot. Started great at North Wilkesboro Speedway a week ago, all the way up to 6th before being wrapped up in that early incident on lap number 8. So we will turn things over. 16th car we've sent out in single car qualifying this afternoon. Only about a handful left to go, but we'll see what the reigning Hickory Motor Speedway winner can do behind the wheel of the 04 Affordable HVAC, Bessemer Tire and Auto, Bassett Gutters, and Rex Younger Gallery Chevrolet out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Ronnie Bassett Jr. Waiting for a team that has really started to hit their stride in 2024 in this latter half. This racetrack very important to the Bassett family, where his brother Dylan made his debut in full-body stock cars and even collected a track championship in limited late models back in 2011. Bassett Jr., though, slowest of the 16 we've sent out thus far. In fact, he will go a little bit faster as timing and scoring refreshes up to the 13th position for the 04.
Here's the driver chasing Connor Hall in the championship points lead. 12 markers behind, looking to grab 2 if he can get himself his 5th Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award of 2024. He's already 5th in terms of all-time poles with the Z-Max Cars Tour. He's now on the back straightaway in his best repair company, Folsom Fence Supply Lead Pulling Performance 03 out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Brendan Butterbean Queen to the line to complete lap 1, and it is quick. 3rd fastest his first time around. He needs just about 0.08 of a second to pole vault himself up to the pole. Butterbean to the checker flag, and he will slow down on his second time through. So Brendan Queen will start up towards those front few rows with just a handful of cars to go. He's P3.
Think about the fact there's 12 points separating the 03 of Queen and the 22 of Hall coming into this weekend, and with where things stand right now, would put things pretty close when Brandon Willard drops the green flag later on tonight. But yet another driver. We mentioned Dean Ward. How about Dylan Ward in the number 7 DeWalt Performance Chevrolet, also out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The 30-year-old looking to better what Dean Ward was able to do just a little bit earlier. Matched a career best run at Caraway Speedway several weeks ago by running in the 8th position. And in fact, did not put any laps on this car in the midst of practice yesterday, but was able to turn some laps today. And the lap he turns the first time through in single car qualifying, sits some 14th fastest, and he is able to find 0.02 of a second, but will stay in that 14th spot. 15.617 for the number 7 of Dylan Ward.
Here's a driver we missed dearly at North Wilkesboro 2 weeks ago. Winner here back in 2018, 3-time pole winner here at Ace. 3-time Cars Tour late model stock champion. This is the Sterling Building Group, Black Acid Apparel, WG Speaks, Caswell Glass, and Pico Propane, new partner they slapped on the hood of the race car for tonight's 125-lap affair. In the R&S Race Cars, number 6 out of Madison, North Carolina, Bobby McCarty coming around to complete his first time lap. And it is going to be 4th fastest. He needs 0.1 of a second this time through to overtake Ryan Millington for the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award with about 2 cars to go after McCarty comes to the checkers. McCarty to the line, and he's going to do it.
Wow.
Top of the charts with a 15.368 for Bobby McCarty, threatening his own track record time, but didn't quite get there.
6 career poles for McCarty. He may have just picked up a 7th, although 3 of those poles have come right here at this racetrack. Just 2 more drivers to try and upset the 15.3s on the front row, and one of those drivers could be behind the wheel of this number 29, a Mobile One Toyota for Kevin Harvick Incorporated out of Hickory, North Carolina. Brent Cruz, now on the racetrack, who has been an ace, no pun intended, in qualifying so far this year, but an uncharacteristic 27th starting spot at North Wilkesboro netted them a 9th place finishing position, and Cruz looks to be right back on track here. 6th fastest at a 15.488, but just look how tight that is, Eric. Just a little bit of a pickup can nearly put him on the 2nd row, perhaps the front row, and it's not going to happen for Cruz on his 2nd lap. Right back into the midst of things is Brent Cruz, who comes in 3rd in the championship standings.
One last bullet for Bobby McCarty to dodge, and it's a car that has shown flashes of brilliance at every stop we've been on this season, whether it be in the late model stock car or the pro. Here in the number 44 for Mike Darn Racing and the Jones Utilities and Construction entry out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Here is Connor Jones making his 5th career start here at Ace Speedway. His best finish here was 6th back in 2022. Started the night in 5th spot when they came to the green that evening. First time around for Connor Jones will slot him in 14th spot, more than a 10th and a half off of the lap laid down by Bobby McCarty. I believe he can exhale a little bit, as it will be a monumental pickup required from Jones, who slides his way to the checkered flag. And Jones will clock in a little bit slower on lap 2, and that will mean for the 4th time in his Z-Max Cars Tour career, 3-time champion Bobby McCarty has won the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award at Ace Speedway.
Again, what a special week it has been for R&S Race Cars. We mentioned during his lap that they celebrated their 100th win as a company earlier with Keith Helton's win just a week ago. And looking to add to that total tonight is Bobby McCarty, who for the 4th time sits at the top of the charts at Ace Speedway. Let's catch up with him.
With our Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole winner, Bobby McCarty. And Bobby, in the context of the last few weeks, missing Wilkesboro, and in the context of the season, how big is getting the Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award tonight?
We just need some luck, man. And, you know, being out front is definitely puts you in the best position. But super proud of all these guys, everybody at R&S, Black Asset, Sterling Building Group, Caswell Glass, DreamWorks, Bilstein, Sound Gear, Pico Propane come on this weekend. And we're real blessed to have them on the hood. And it's really cool, man.
It is a neat occurrence for Bobby McCarty. Blake and Eric, track position has been a catchphrase, a buzzword that's been used a lot throughout the garage. Bobby McCarty is going to have the best track position to start off when we go racing later this evening.
That he is, and again, this is one of those racetracks, Eric, where we don't usually talk about a lot of new winners coming into Ace Speedway. It's those that have been around this racetrack for a long time. It's challenging, it's technical, you have to be very precise to get around here, and that is embodied in the fact that Bobby McCarty is your Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award. Next up, the battle for the Model 8 Pole Award and the Pro Late Models is up next on FloRacing.
Back at Ace Speedway here, we just saw Bobby McCarty win his 4th Thunder Road Harley-Davidson pole here at Ace Speedway. And now we're going to see who will be able to lead the field down for the green flag in the Pro Late Model portion of tonight's accelerated GFX 285. Here is how the top 10 looked when qualifying ended. McCarty and Millington, who said he feels this is the best race car he's ever had on the front row. Drayton Lapsevich putting the events in North Wilkesboro behind him for now, alongside of the driver's second in points in Brendan Queen. Chad McCumbie's return to the Cars Tour in late model stock will put him in 5th. Brent Cruz rounds out your first 3 rows.
You have Blake Stallings, again, could be very strong, has won here this season in a late model stock. Landon Lewis, every time that we see him out here, he is so impressive. That number 62 car that's had 4 different drivers throughout 2024. How about Isabella Robusto? A couple of great qualifying efforts that she has had as of late in the Z-Max Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear. And then Minnie Tyrell, we talk about this championship battle. 10th isn't too far out of the picture to try and move forward if you have a fast race car.
Got Dylan Harville, one of the hometown heroes, just outside the top 10. And how about championship points leader Connor Hall? They said they took a lot of big swings at that car overnight. 12th. That's not Carson Quapple. Caden Quapple in the Junior Motorsports AK 13th. Connor Jones, Kate Brown, your top 15.
And you have Heath Causey, the number 16. We talk about a number of local drivers here. You could throw Dylan Ward in that category in 17th. Ronnie Bassett Jr., Brandon Pierce driving in a car that they weren't anticipating on running this afternoon. Buddy Isles Jr. rounds out your top 20. And 21st will go to Dean Ward in the 12W machine. That's the man who's going to be starting from the front spot in the late model stocks as Bobby McCarty brings home another Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pole Award. But Eric, let's take that shift and let's talk about these pro late models right here, because we have a great battle for the championship in the late model stocks. 6 races left to go. How about just 5 for the pro late models? We have a close championship battle, and we have some of those drivers that are in that championship battle that now have a new home and a new team for the rest of this season.
Yeah, quite the story with the driver chasing the car that we see on the racetrack right now in Caden Honeycutt, who made a midweek move to the Bryson Lopez team. More on that when we see Caden on the racetrack. How about the driver who took over the championship points lead after North Wilkesboro? This is the number 29 machine of a driver who's got a lot of modified experience here. And again, he took over that points lead at Wilkesboro. He's holding a 5-point margin coming into tonight's race in his Fury race cars. G.E. Brown and Core Race Products, number 29, for his own race team out of Dawsonville, Georgia. Here's Spencer Davis on the clock. He has only one finish outside of the top 6 all year long. That's that of Davis. It was a 12th at the second race at Hickory after being leveled a penalty for contact with that of Tristan McKee. First lap for Davis is going to be a 15.378 to set the bar for Male Pole Award qualifying, with Davis now coming to the line to complete lap 2. Second lap for Davis going to be a tick slower, so he will sit on the 15.378. He lays down on lap number 1.
Heard from this driver earlier today, but if you're just joining us, it's a bit of an illness that has given Luke Baldwin, behind the wheel of the number 15 FurnitureByWalker.com and Race Shop Floors machine out of Mooresville, North Carolina, the opportunity to run in this race. Again, Jonathan Schaefer, who has been behind the wheel the last number of weeks for Walker Motorsports, unfortunately falling ill in the last couple of days and was not able to make the trip down from Ohio. It was a late call that Baldwin was pleased with. He says, "I love this track. Absolutely love it." And right now, he is just 6/1,000 shy of trying to challenge Spencer Davis for the Male Pole Award, of which it would be a first in his Cars Tour career. Big slide off of turn 4, but somehow he goes faster. So Luke Baldwin hanging it out off of turn 4, but yet he manages to run faster. Was not expecting that lap time to pop up there.
As the next car hits the racetrack, a little bit of late-breaking news about one of our competitors, Joshua Horneman. He's not going to make a qualifying attempt. In fact, he's not even at the racetrack right now. Report from Joshua is they had an issue with his main car. They're heading back to the Stillwell Racing shop to get a teammate chassis that can enter into tonight's race. Their hope is to get back to the Speedway by 6:30 p.m. We wish him safe travels and hope to see him back here. That is quite the tall order to be thrown his way. As we see Jake Bowman on the Speedway, who clocks in 3rd quickest on his first lap. This is the LPG Transport Pacific Coast Propane Factory Canopies at Strange Oval. Wilson Motorsports number 24 for the Huntington Beach, California native, as he comes around to complete lap number 2, and he will move up to the top spot of 15.326 for Jake Bowman, 3rd car on the racetrack.
See the 4th driver out on the racetrack right now. Behind the wheel, the number 19 Black Acid Apparel, Ford Brothers Auto Repair, and Driven Sunglasses Chevrolet. From Kernersville is the 19 of Jessica Can, making her 3rd career Cars Tour Pro Late Model start. Ran at Southern National Motorsports Park and Orange County Speedway earlier this season. Even made a start a little bit early this season in a late model stock at this very racetrack in weekly competition. As Jessica Can, her first lap through, will be 4th fastest, 16.532 for a car that, when we were watching a little bit earlier in practice, Eric, just looked like struggled a little bit to try to get that car to turn through the center of the corner. That's a big problem that a lot of teams will be dealing with here at the famous 4/10 mile, as Jessica Can does pick up about 1/10 of a second on her second go around.
Next car on the racetrack in the Cookout, Coca-Cola, Cheerwine, Audubon Farm, and Putt Putt Fun Center in games number 88. Driving the Rumax racing car out of Trinity, North Carolina, Mad Max is back. This is Max Reeves, who takes the green flag. This is his 5th career start and 2nd here at Ace Speedway. First time we've seen Max Reeves back with the Cars Tour since Caraway in early June, make that early July. Started 17th, finished 14th here in May after a mechanical problem. And Reeves' first lap is going to be 4th quickest. It's a 15.511. Good need for a significant pickup here as he's battling for a Young Lion championship in the Young Lions category at Summer Shootout throughout the late summer months. After picking up multiple wins at the Charlotte Motor Speedway throughout the Summer Shootout tenure. Second lap for Reeves is going to be faster, but he will remain 4th of the 5 cars that have been on track thus far.
We mentioned a number of drivers that are still in championship contention. You can definitely throw this 00 R&R Race Parts and Wilson Motorsports machine right in that category out of Candia, New Hampshire, making the trip down south and having a heck of a time here in 2024. This is Jimmy Renfrew Jr., who was able to score a win at Hickory Motor Speedway about a month ago in the throwback race, but right now sits just 15 markers back and 4th in the championship standings, and is going to do better to try and make up some ground there. 3rd fastest for Renfrew Jr., just a thousandth of a second off of Luke Baldwin would put him on the outside of the front row. Checkered flag in hand. Can Renfrew find more? Yes, indeed he does. Up to a 15.282 goes that of Jimmy Renfrew Jr., looking for his first career Male Pole Award.
And from one race winner on the season to another, some would argue perhaps one of the hottest drivers in the Pro Late Model portion of the Z-Max Cars Tour by far. 2 of the last 3 races, he's gone to victory lane. Could have made it 3 for 3 after getting spun while in the top 5 at Hickory 2 in the race that ended with Jimmy Renfrew Jr., the provisional pole sitter, going to victory lane. In the Chevrolet number 6 for Sexa Racing and Development, it is Hampton, Virginia's Tristan McKee, trying to go back-to-back in Pro Late Model wins, and he may get himself a Male Pole Award. 15.262 for Tristan McKee on his first time around. He is clear of the field by 0.02 of a second and looking for more. Checkered flag, and he will get more. 67 thousandths of a second, the margin for Tristan McKee, looking for pole number 2 in 2024.
And if not for about 1 or 2 DNFs throughout the course of the year, a couple of crashes that Tristan McKee was involved in early in the year, he would be right in the championship fight and isn't entirely out of it yet if he can put together some monster races that it seemed his Setzer Racing and Development team just might do. But brand new news for the Z-Max Cars Tour Pro Late Models in this championship battle is the fact that this number 47 is being driven by the driver that is 2nd in points in the Atlanta Paving and Concrete Chevrolet out of Aledo, Texas. This is Caden Honeycutt, typically behind the wheel of the 51 Maverick Page Motorsports entry, but has elected to shift gears, but has kept his speed. 2nd fastest for Caden Honeycutt, 15.255. 400ths is all he needs to challenge for the pole, and he's going to be able to find it. 15.202 for Caden Honeycutt, looking for those 2 very valuable points for winning the Male Pole Award.
Didn't take long for that relationship to flourish between driver and team. My goodness, and here's another contender for the Male Pole for sure. He has started every single Z-Max Cars Tour Pro Late Model race that's ever been held. He's making his 34th start, and the last 3 Ace races, he's finished 1st, 2nd, and 1st. The only anomaly was a 7th place effort that was due to a mechanical failure. This is the family-owned team. Here is Caden Kloppel, whose first lap is going to be 7th. Wow, just under 0.2 of a second off the lap laid down by Honeycutt in his Corvette Parts.net, Lake Norman Mechanical, and Words Machine number 35. First time ever Caden's pulled double duty with a Pro Late Model stock. A big moment off 4 and a move up to 6. Kloppel's going to be fun to watch tonight.
Indeed he is, as it is tight up at the front of the field. We'll see if this driver can challenge and win what would be his first career Male Pole Award in its Z-Max Cars Tour presented by Sound Gear Pro Late Model career. Coming off a 15th place effort at North Wilkesboro Speedway in the number 77 Jones Utility Construction Chevrolet out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. This is Logan Jones. ran very strong at Tri-County Speedway earlier this season, starting 6th and bringing home a 9th place effort. Logan Jones right now, just behind that, or just in front of that rather, in the 8th position, 15:4:44. By the way, fastest qualifying time we've seen in the Pro Late Models in Cars Tour competition was a 15:2:33. So we have shattered that here this afternoon as Logan Jones will stay in the 8th position with a little bit of a pickup on his second lap.
Got about 3 cars to go. Again, Joshua Horniman not going to turn a lap. We're hoping he'll be back in time for the race. Here is the Highlands Motorsports number 96, the Concord Wealth Partners, Concord Asset Management, and Specialty Manufacturer entry for that of rookie contender from Land O'Lakes, Florida, TJ DeCare, making his 13th career start and 3rd here at Ace Speedway. Again, the time to beat of 15:2:02, as Blake mentioned, a new track record in terms of Male Pole Award competition at this venue. DeCare, 7th his first time around with a 15:3:68. His best finish at this racetrack was 4th last year after starting in 11th position and is working his way up through the pack throughout the race. Second lap for DeCare is going to be a tick slower, and he will remain 7th. Again, he will remain in the top 10 by the time all is said and done. We've got 2 cars left to go.
We mentioned earlier this shift away from Caden Honeycutt in the number 51 car. It has opened up the door for a very deserving candidate to hop behind the wheel of the Page Construction Doorworks and Schaefer's Oil number 51 out of Wheeling, West Virginia. This is Travis Braden, making his Pro Late Model debut. He has 2 prior starts in the Cars Tour Super Late Model Series that is now defunct. But what a resume that Travis has put together. Winchester 400 winner of the Snowball Derby, and let's see what it is on lap number 1 for that number 51. It'll refresh to 10th position for Travis Braden, which just a small pickup would mean dividends. Second lap through, and Travis Braden looks like it's gonna stand for a 10th place run for him as he matches his second lap through, if you can believe that. Exact same lap time through both times around, 15:3:86 for Travis Braden.
Final car on the racetrack while the team car sits atop the scoring pylon. This is the Atlanta Paving and Concrete Bryson Lopez Racing number 6B out of Woodstock, Georgia. This is Brandon Lopez, rookie on the Cars Tour with the Pro Late Models in 2024. Fresh off a 13th place effort at Wilkesboro. His best finish was a 10th at Tri-County, and Lopez's first lap is going to be 12th. It's been quite the exciting qualifying session. All of us probably could use a swig of water by now. We're going to get it here in a moment as Lopez comes to the checkers. Final car to lay down a lap time, and it is going to be Lopez. He will time in 12th, but the team car is going to lead the field to the green flag. New team to chase a championship, and he's got 2 points in the bag already to kick off the night. Caden Honeycutt, your Male Pole Award winner for our second stop at Ace in 2024. Well, it was a late-breaking story as we got to the midway portion of the race week as far as what would be next for Caden Honeycutt. He's answered a lot of the questions already. Pike is with our pole sitter.
Now let's talk with our Malley Pistons Pole Award winner. So a bit of news over the course of the week. So first and foremost, how did the deal with Bryson Lopez Racing come about?
Yeah, just great family, great people that allowed me to race a race car this weekend, and obviously I had to work out a couple of things, but yeah, I just want to thank them. Without them, we wouldn't be at the racetrack this weekend. Just want to thank Atlanta Paving Concrete and BLR Terminal Maintenance, everyone that helps us out on the St. Fury race cars as well. I haven't been at a Fury for a while, so yeah, just really thankful that they gave me an opportunity this weekend and to finish out the season. So really just focused on that, nothing else, and try to win their first race for them.
You're off to a flyer start, starting on pole. So what's clicked here just between practice and everything leading up to qualifying today with you and the team?
Yeah, just second practice didn't go very well. We put on a different set of tires, different codes, and it just didn't do what we thought it should have. But didn't really worry about that after we found that out. So we really just stuck to our game plan at the end of yesterday. We felt really good about our race car. So now it's all about just keeping all the brakes cool, don't overcook the right front, and just be there at the end to try to win the race. There's a lot of good cars. There's at least 6 of us that can win the race by the end of the night. So just got to remember that and make sure to keep the right rear tire on it and do what we can to finish it out.
Blake and Eric, I feel like between the pro late models and the late model stock cars, if there's a theme between the qualifying sessions, it's that drivers that traditionally have been strong here at Ace already are already starting off the day with some pretty good track positions, some pretty good qualifying runs. So I think if that's any indication, we're going to see titanic battles at the front of the field. And if you thought what we saw in the spring between the trio late model stock car drivers was good, I think it could be twice as nice, because we can see that in the late models and the pro late models before the night is over.
Well, and I think you just take a look at, Bobby McCarty. This is one of his favorite racetracks. Caden Honeycutt, this is one of his favorite racetracks. As we take a look at the full field running order for the Pro Late models and just look at that entire graphic, Eric, separated by less than 0.2 of a second. That's just become the theme in the ZMAX car store.
A little over 1/100th of a second, the margin between Honeycutt and McKee on the front row. And when you look at championship complexion, how about Caden Quapple in 6th? And of course, the points leader in Spencer Davis 8th. Those are going to be 2 cars that have to work their way further forward, knowing that Honeycutt clawed into that gap that Davis had. The margin's going to be down to 3 points by the time they come to the green flag, with Travis Braden making his debut with the Maverick Page Motorsports team, rounding out the top 10.
Will be Max Reeves, Brandon Lopez, and Jessica Can, who make up the 13 drivers that did make a time. Of course, you mentioned Joshua Horneman, who also we hope will be back in time to at least make the start for the race, albeit he'll do so from the tail end of the field. That wraps things up with us here in single car qualifying. Your Thunder Road Harley-Davidson Pull Award winner and Bobby McCarty, and your Motley Pull Award winner and Caden Honeycutt will lead the field to green. We'll be back from Altamaha.